So what are NAV loans? Well, just to recap, a private equity fund is created by a limited partnership agreement between the limited partners, the LPs or the investors, and the general partner, the GP or the private equity fund. Now, the private equity fund will buy companies on the investor's behalf. So let's look at how loans are involved. Well, in buyout funds, it is common that the private equity fund will borrow money at the individual portfolio company level. In other words, when a private equity fund buys a company, it usually obtains a direct loan that is backed by the cash flow or assets of the individual company. This is usually referred to as a leveraged buyout. Direct loans used to be primarily given by banks, but since the financial crisis and Dodd-Frank, many of these loans come from private credit funds. Now, as promised, let's explain NAV loans in private equity. Well, instead of borrowing against one portfolio company, the private equity fund will borrow against the NAV or the net asset value of the group of portfolio companies. In other words, the private equity fund is borrowing against a diverse set of companies instead of one specific company. Since there is less risk to lend against a group of companies compared to just one company, the cost of borrowing will be less for the private equity fund. Now, let me clarify that NAV loans are not replacing direct loans, but they coexist in the same fund, with direct loans occurring first when the company is purchased, and NAV loans coming after, usually when there are multiple portfolio companies in the fund. Another point to clarify is that NAV loans are different than subscription lines of credit, where NAV loans occur later in the fund's life and have the recourse of the portfolio companies, whereas subscription lines of credit are used to extend the time for capital calls and have the recourse of the investor commitments. For more on subscription lines of credit, please check out our video titled Subscription Lines of Credit.